It is part 7, so make sure to watch previous parts also. You will find links in the description box. In the previous part, we saw the president's team finally manage to capture Seong by using chemicals or sonic bombs and falling tons of cement on him to seal him in. But then Seong begins to see unknown visions. After that, he gains the ability to use his sword according to his will and manages to escape from that situation. Then, filled with anger, Seong goes to the president and kill him by saying, "It's your turn now." On the other hand, in the Blue House, also known as the President's Office, people are panicking as the President has not been attending government meetings for a long time, especially in the severe situation like this. With a pale face, the President Assistant informs them that according to the latest report, President Jang Chul has died while on duty. Upon hearing this news, they start discussing who will be the next president since they cannot do election again. At that moment, an old man enters the room and tells them not to panic. This old man, Jang Yong, is the father of the current president, Jang Chul, and a former leader of the ruling political party, having been elected 8 times. He is the one who actually holds all the power behind the current president. The old man then explains that according to the law, in the absence of the president, the prime minister should take control of the government and orders them to follow his commands. Surprisingly, everyone agrees with him without any issue. On the Seong end, we see a lady who is looking at Seong from a distance. She is frightened by the way Seong is moving his sword without holding it, and someone tells her that team will arrive here in 3 minutes, but she orders her team to run away from that location as soon as possible, or they will all die. Later, it is revealed that this lady is a Russian spy agent named Julia. After killing the president, Seong tells him that, as he mentioned earlier, he will also kill everyone in his family. He knows that the president's father is the main person who concealed everything from behind the scenes, and that they are all the same. Then he takes a big jump and holds onto the helicopter flying in the sky, telling the pilot to take him to the Blue House. The pilot, having no other option to save his life, agrees to do so. When they reach near the city, the pilot warns Seong that instead of following the Han River Way, they will have to take the longer way, since the area near the capital is guarded and monitored by the Air Defense Brigade 24 hours a day. The pilot also informs Seong that they already have a report about this helicopter, so they will fire on them without giving any warning. In addition, the pilot says that he knows Seong will be fine even if he attacked by shells or guns, but maybe Seong won't be fine if he falls from this height. Nevertheless, Seong tells him to take the shortest Han River route. Upon hearing this, the pilot starts crying, as he knows that Seong has powers that will save him, but he is still going to die. When they reach the Han River, the military is already waiting for them with their ammunition, and they start firing on the helicopter in an attempt to blast it out of the sky. But then, Seong uses his new sword skill and nullifies their attacks in the mid-air using his sword, and forms an impenetrable spherical zone around the helicopter with his sword to protect it from military attacks. Upon seeing that nothing was working on the helicopter, the army personnel became frustrated and started targeting it from every possible location. Seong warned them not to disturb him, but they kept attacking him continuously, and Seong easily defeated all of them with his sword. However, in this process, a large area of the city gets damaged. Meanwhile, in the Blue House, the president's father was crying over his son's death and thinking about how his son left this world before his old man, after finally achieving his dream position. Then, the president's assistant entered the room and informed him that Seong was headed in their direction, and they had to leave the place as soon as possible. On Seong's end, the military finally managed to damage the helicopter. After noticing this, Seong took out the driver from the helicopter with just one hand and left it with the driver before it exploded, by riding on his sword. Seong saw that many innocent people were also getting injured in this process, but then he remembered his revenge and moved forward. He landed in front of the Blue House with his sword, and the army surrounded him to stop him from entering the Blue House using any possible means. They pointed their guns at Seong and told him to stop, but in a badass mode, Seong told them, "Whoever wants to die, shoot me." On the other hand, in the Defense Command Office, they are debating about the army's action in the middle of the city. One of the individuals present argues that the indiscriminate bombardment by the 1st Defense Artillery has resulted in numerous civilian casualties. If this continues, their government's reputation will suffer greatly. Another person asks, then should we just let what is happening continue as it is, even though the whole government is being paralyzed because of one terrorist? The security chief responds by saying, "So, are you trying to say that we should destroy the Blue House into pieces to capture Si Young? which will lead to the spread of news of our government's failure throughout the world. Then the politics chief responds by saying, "So, what are you saying? Are you suggesting that we hand over President Father to Si Young, the most important man in our country? Won't it show our country's incompetence?" The political affairs chief advises that before making any decisions, they should speak to Seong for negotiations, whether it is possible or not. Someone should try to make an attempt so that they can get enough time to securely evacuate citizens. Then, the Prime Minister asks Chief Young for his plan on this matter regarding the ongoing conflict. Meanwhile, someone is watching on news that Seong has captured the Blue House, and the number of civilian casualties has risen to over 100. According to the military, Seong seized a military helicopter and went on an indiscriminate rampage with the intent of killing the president, using the lives of civilians as collateral. Then it is revealed that the person who is watching the news is Seong nurse. While she is thinking about Seong, someone knocks on her door and asks if she is from one university hospital. She wonders who it could be. Then the person outside opens the door from the side forcefully and says that he is from the police. He asks her to open the door because he has some questions to ask about Seong. She notices that something is wrong. The person who is trying to forcibly enter the room is not a police officer. When the man attempts to enter the room by force, someone suddenly shoots him in the head. Similarly, she also kills his colleagues, but we later find out that she is Seong's girlfriend Shion, which shocks the nurse who sees her. Then we move to the Blue House at the end of Seong, where Air Force Captain Han Ji-hun, the helicopter pilot, gets scared upon seeing Seong and thinks he should have pretended to be unconscious a little longer. When he realizes he is in the Blue House, he can't understand what's going on. Seong tells Captain that he will have to do some work for him. Then we see the captain going to meet the army commander, but as the commander finds out that he is the same pilot who helped Seong in the Blue House incident, he becomes angry and accuses him of supporting crime instead of fighting terrorism, even though he is a soldier. The commander considers this act of treason against the country, and the military court investigates it, ordering a court-martial against him. As the soldiers take the captain with them, he thinks that no one can help him now since soldiers have to obey orders even if it means they have to die, and disobedience is unforgivable. He believes that being charged in a court-martial is still 100 times better than being with an insane serial killer. As he thinks this, Seong appears there and attacks the army vehicle, capturing the captain. Before the captain can understand anything, Seong speaks to him something, and then he leaves, abandoning the captain there. Later, we see the commander getting angry at the captain, blaming him for Seong destroying their command base. He accuses the captain of trying to commit treason. Captain says that Seong is asking him to deliver his message word for word. This message is for future negotiations. If anyone lays a hand on Han Ji-hun, Air Force Captain, he will not spare any army personnel. Upon hearing this message, all army officers become scared and grab onto their heads. Later we see 3 commanding officials getting out of their car in front of the Blue House. Captain Han goes with them to negotiate with Si Young. As soon as they try to introduce themselves, Seong interrupts and tells them that he has 2 demands. First, everyone in Seoul must leave the city without any exceptions. Second, all national department heads must gather there. He tells them that these demands must be fulfilled by tomorrow midnight. Later, in the car, they are discussing that how Si Young's demands are unreasonable because they cannot evacuate 10 million people in just 18 hours. Later, Captain Han asks Seong if there is a specific reason why he wants everyone in Seoul to leave. Seong answers by saying that the city of Seoul will soon become a battlefield and he does not want innocent people to get involved and die. We move to the nurse's end, where Shion tells Nurse that these people are from Changsu's security force called August, who want to kidnap her. She asks her to come with her because she is also worried about Seong. As they go down the stairs, Shion warns the nurse that she will kill her if she gets kidnapped, so she must make sure that it never happens. Then, Shion throws a grenade down the stairs, which causes a blast and kills the other members of the security force who are coming to kidnap the nurse. Then we see 2 people talking outside the monastery. They were saying that they didn't expect to find a place like this in Korea, and it would be difficult for them if Seong were to hide here. It is then revealed that they are Chinese secret agents. One of the agents says that having a team of 100 people is too much. The other agent says that people from other countries like Japan and Germany could come here anytime, and if that happens, they will be overshadowed by their numbers. Just then, Maruchi appears from the monastery, and they are shocked to see him. Maruchi defeats all of them with his monster's power, leaving them in very bad state. In the main command office, the vice president orders his army to shift their entire focus towards the Blue House and orders troops to be spread all over the city to stop Seong. On Seong's end, the captain wonders why the government isn't starting the evacuation yet, as they only have time until midnight. Then, Seong suddenly speaks up from behind, saying we are starting now. They then leave the Blue House in a military vehicle, but are shocked and confused upon seeing people still there relaxed and unaware on the streets, as it seems the government hasn't issued any evacuation notices. Meanwhile, news broadcasters announce that Seong is heading towards the National Assembly. Suddenly, the glass behind them shatters, and someone enters the newsroom through the broken window. Everyone becomes scared upon seeing Seong there. The captain then approaches the broadcaster and tells them to continue broadcasting the news, despite their fear, as it's their only chance to keep themselves safe. Seong is speaking on a broadcast, stating that he has killed President Jang Seung-chul, which is shocking all civilians who hear it. He then goes on to say that in accordance with his demands from the government, everyone must leave Seoul City by midnight without exception, and bring their boss to him. However, his demands are ignored, and he already knows who their real boss is. Going forward, he will respond according to his plan, which he elaborates on by stating that all troops that have not withdrawn will not be left alive, including all types of soldiers without exception. He also demands that all police in Seoul remove their arms and close all strongholds, and those who do not follow will be eliminated without exception. Lastly, he prohibits all citizens living in Seoul from going out for any reason, and those who fail to follow these rules will not have their safety guaranteed. Meanwhile, in a hospital, an unknown man is looking at an admitted person and promising him that he will find and kill the person responsible for putting him in this state. Then we see the same old man who had planned to seal Seong. His assistant gives him all the updates related to the current incident at the Blue House. The old man asks his assistant about Simu Yul's status. The assistant tells him that Simu Yul has regained consciousness after they injected him with a serum, and now he is making a fast recovery. The old man then asks about Mu Yul's brother, Hong Yul. The assistant tells him that Hong is not purposely contacting them, and that a serum has been stolen from the Taekwondo headquarters. According to security camera footage, they believe that the accused is Hong. Then we see Seong with Captain. Captain thinks that it's not right to include innocent people in this matter, as they have no relation to this incident. After listening to the crimes of those 8 bullies, his first thought is that they deserve what's happening to them. But it's not right to threaten innocent people to seek revenge from the government. When they enter an elevator, they notices an unknown person there. The captain warns the person from the side to get off the elevator, but he ignores it. The captain wonders how this person is so calm even after seeing Seong. Suddenly, the person takes out an injection and injects it into his neck, which surprisingly makes him very powerful. He kicks Seong with all his power, making him slide backwards. Seong responds by punching him, but the person easily dodges it. The captain is shocked to see the unknown person's power, and can't understand how he is able to fight Seong head to head. As they fight in the elevator, the cable breaks and the elevator starts to fall. As soon as the elevator stops, the person kicks Seong with such force that he is dragged and breaks the elevator door to fall out of the lift. Then, that person tries to use their speed to attempt to hit Seong. But just before the attack, Seong catches him in mid-air. Seong then pierces him with his sword and kills him. Seong thinks that he has won, so he leaves the place. However, as soon as Seong leaves, the person takes out an injection from his pocket and injects himself. Later, Seong and the captain are going to the roof of the building to take a helicopter, but the broadcaster team has already taken the helicopter before they arrive. At that moment, Seong is pointing towards the sky and saying that they will steal the helicopter. The pilot notices that they are trying to give him a message with a whiteboard that is shaking, so he tries to see what is written on the board using a telescope. The board has the message "Please land," and the pilot wonders what they are thinking, that they are idiots to land there. But then he sees Seong's sword flying on the left side of the helicopter, so he decides to land the helicopter there. The captain inside the helicopter asks Seong where they should go, to which Seong responds that they will first head to the bridge that is closest, and then start heading towards Mapo Bridge. On the other side, we see an assistant come into the defense office and report that they have just received news that Seong has hijacked the helicopter and destroyed the Mapo Bridge. Later on, news reports show that Seong, a terrorist who had previously occupied the Blue House without permission, and caused hundreds of casualties, is currently destroying all the bridges that connect to the Han River, including the Mapo Bridge, Xiaogang Bridge, and all other bridges that were connected to the Han River without any hesitation. The news shows that the prisoners who were being held in the Seoul prison have escaped. People are making numerous calls to report this, but it seems that the police are not responding. The situation is expected to become worse. In some parts of Seoul, there are reports of group robberies and gang assaults happening everywhere. Some people are reportedly vandalizing and setting fire to shops and cars. It appears that they have realized that the police are unable to fulfill their duties due to the threat of Seong. Hearing this, people are getting scared and saying that things may get even worse and that they should leave this place. In reality, security and the system have collapsed in Seoul City. The citizens who are feeling anxiety and fear about their safety are starting to flee the city since Seoul has become the center of chaos. That's it for this part. Please subscribe this channel for more amazing videos.